We love a good mystery, right? Mystery novel, mystery movies. Growing up, or when I was in middle school, it was the Hardy Boys, for the boys. The movie that I most remember when it comes to mysteries is The Sixth Sense, and I don't want to spoil anything for a 10-year-old movie or anything. So, in generalities, you get to the payoff at the end of The Sixth Sense, and you go, oh. I see all the breadcrumbs that he left now. And so we're taking a look at Ephesians 3, and Paul talks about this mystery of God. It wasn't unveiled until Christ showed up, and God used Paul to unveil and peel back this mystery. But there are plenty of breadcrumbs in the Old Testament, letting us be able to see and foreshadow what was coming in Christ. Rahab is a prime example of the foreshadow that God put in the Old Testament towards this mystery. She was somebody that was outside of God's people. She was somebody outside of God's moral law. However, God forgave her. God brought her into full standing with his people, so much so that she ended up in the lineage of Jesus. She was the great great grandmother of King David. I mean, he just flipped the entire script with her life. And Ephesians 3, as it describes Gentiles, or we could apply that to the non-religious, those far from God, as Paul describes how God brings in the Gentiles, or those far from God, into God's people. He is describing completely what happened to Rahab. And the mystery is simply this, that all people get to participate in the gospel. It's through faith. It's through faith in Jesus. But every single person on the face of the earth gets the chance to participate in the gospel through faith. And when you participate in the gospel through faith, you get to participate. You get to experience the fullness of God inside of you. And that's the prayer. That's what the prayer is about at the end of chapter 3. I've got a couple of questions. One, have you experienced God's fullness? Have you experienced this mystery? Have you experienced the gospel in that you have been accepted and brought into God's people? And if you are a part of God's people, how do you practice that? How do you live this out? Paul said that the church puts on display the multifaceted wisdom of God. It's like a diamond in light. As you turn it around, you get to see different aspects and different glimmers and everything. God's wisdom is the same way. How do you, as God's people, show somebody that's far from God how they can be God's people?